Right, hello everybody. Today we're doing the final bit of the post and rail. So I thought I'd just do a quick video of how I do it, how I keep it parallel, nice and simple. Right, I know I say it every time I do a build video, but get yourself off the ground. I got one of these collapsible 6-foot tables that they're so useful for so many different things. Fold in half, you can get them in the boot of your car or your van. They're just brilliant. And I mean, I've had this one for years, but I've just looked it up, and one of these is 36 quid on Amazon. 36 quid, especially when you're in a muddy situation like this, and they'll last you years. So useful. And I've also got my timber up on some trestles. Just makes cutting it easier. Brilliant. There again, these are cheap Van Hoist ones. I think they're about 30 odd quid, but so useful. Right, we're working in a yellow weather warning situation, so yeah, it's all good fun, isn't it? So right, just crack on through what I think you need just to make it nice and simple. Couple of clamps, our spacing timber. All the wood's previously been treated, but this is with Creocoat. But I've also got the brush and the little pot ready, because we got to cut some ends and we just need to Creocoat up the ends. Something to hold it to the posts. I'm using heavy duty timber fixings. I prefer to use these because these have the 8mm driver ends, and each packet comes with their own driver that just fits into your impact, and it just means putting them in, or if you need to take them out, if you need access, they're just brilliant. A drill with a 5mm drill bit in it, just because where you're drilling close to the end of the wood, if you just put in a pilot hole, it saves the wood from splitting. A level if you got level ground, obviously a tape measure, and you can use a saw, but I've got access to a battery saw, and I've also got the guide for cutting with that saw. So now we'll just go through how I make it nice and parallel easily. Right, so first of all, you're going to put in your bottom rail. Now, if you've got level ground all the way along your run, happy days, you can just use a spirit level. But here, the ground runs uphill slightly towards the fence at the end. Now, I don't want to drop this down and make it level, otherwise it'll just collect water and it'll be sitting in the water. Ideally, you want your bottom rail just off the ground. That way it's not going to soak up water. And what I've done is I've cut my spacing board here and clamped it to the post. This is a bit of decking board, and as you can see, it goes wider than the gap, if that makes sense. So it supports that one when we put that one up, stays there, and it will support that one at the same height. And we've done the same the other end. Just put in the spacer, and that way, even though this is running uphill now, because you're staying parallel all the way, it'll look right. And by using a spacer, you haven't got to measure everything. It's just simple. Clamp it on, bolt it up, job done. All right. Now, I'll show you on here what I mean about drilling a pilot hole so you don't split the end of the wood where you've got a cut. Up this end, you've got the full width of the wood and it runs into the fence, so that doesn't matter, just screw away, happy days. All right, so we'll screw this one up first, and then I'll stick it on a tripod and I'll show you what I mean about drilling the hole and the way to do it, because we've got to drill at an angle. Beauty. cracking on. Right, so where you got a screw close to the end, you don't want to split the wood. And the easiest way to avoid that is just by drilling, this is a 5mm hole. Now, we want to go on the angle to get maximum amount of grip. But if you try doing that, often your drill will scoot across. So the easiest way, come in about 2 inches, start it straight, then move it across. So you're going for the center of the post and just drill in. Simple as that. Then, I hope this doesn't split. I'm going to look a right idiot, didn't I? Yep, dropped it. Right, I'm using 100mm screws. Like I said, hex head, brilliant. Just put it in, screw it home, and it hasn't split. Beauty. Right, that's how you do that bit. And you do the middle rail exactly the same. Got the spacer clamped in, screw up your rail. And you may think, well, why didn't you do your middle one first? That's because the middle rail is slightly below center, only by 2 centimeters, but it actually looks right, if that makes sense. It's the way you look at it. I mean, it doesn't really make that much difference, but that's why I've done it. And the rails overall are 1 meter from the bottom to the top, because I'm going to put some wind netting along this to keep the wind out, because we're very exposed here. All right, so there we go. There's the living willow entrance, grown away lovely, and the out sunny polytunnel. Oh, if you want to laugh, go and look at the last video. I had to come back and salvage that thing last night. But anyway, happy days. I'll just show you along the top fence a minute, just so you can see what it looks like over a longer scale. Right, so here we have the longer run over the top of the garden. And as you see, it goes uphill and then runs relatively level. And that's what it'll look like. Just one thing. Whatever rail length you're using, as long as you're on a fairly straight run, you want to split where your joins are. So that rail's full, that one's split, and that one's full. And then the next one along, the middle one's full, top one's split, bottom one's split. That'll just help to hold it all together. Hope that makes sense. Ponies come and have a look. Wind's still blowing. Yellow gale warning for wind. Trees blowing in the breeze. Right, that's it. Hope you've learnt, well, hopefully I've passed on something that might be useful to you. Thank you very much for watching. Cheers and gone.